I grew up in Riverside, a city none of us stayed in by choice. Factory roofs, chain link fences, everything dusted a dirty orange by the refinery at dusk. Most nights, the air stinks of gasoline and deep fryer grease. Nights with Jen used to be the only times I could breathe, drinking wine and swerving down the highway with her shirt tied off at the ribs, blown speakers rattling, and she'd scream at the smokestacks and flip off the city limits sign. To me, she'd always whisper, "Let's disappear. I want to leave forever." By that last summer, life had started shrinking. My drunk old man wanted me to go work a third shift at the mill, like him. My friends were ghosts I only saw outside Quick Stop, already tired at 20. Jen burned hotter than all of it. Her body, her mouth, her laugh, the stupid trouble she pulled me into. Sometimes I felt like I'd spent my whole life running after her, hoping I wouldn't catch up. By the end of June, she shows up banging on my door at midnight, a carton of Lucky Strikes hanging out of her purse, legs bare, Band-Aid on her heel. "Get up, let's get lost. Hickory Lake. Nobody goes there anymore. It's all ours tonight." When she said Hickory Lake, I knew she meant it. This is the place her mom used to party at back in the 90s, out beyond the old mine road, half swallowed by forest, where county maps stop having street names and turn blank. Nobody's supposed to swim there now. Too many bad stories and too much trash. One kid drowned there, and folks said his mom never stopped looking. I almost said no, but one look at Jen, her grin and chipped black nails, and there was no way I could. My old Firebird rattled up the dirt. Jen turned the music up to drown out everything outside this moment. She leaned over, laughing, tugging at my belt while I tried to keep the car straight. When she leaned in to kiss me, her tongue tasted like cherry soda and cigarettes. We were already sweating. I gunned the engine, one hand on her leg, and gave in. We needed this night together. We laughed at nothing, told old stories. Her first tattoo, my first broken finger, her fault. Old hookups, new regrets. There's a special kind of danger with Jen. She always wants to see what's on the other side of fear. It's a 50-mile drive to Hickory Lake, but out in the country, it feels like forever. The road gets worse at every turn. More gravel, more ruts, more trees rising up wild. I caught myself thinking how stupid it was, how nobody would know where we were if anything happened. But it felt good to be with her, heads together in the dark, feeling like we were the last two kids left in the world. We passed the old gas station, boarded up even back when we were 15. Once, Jen threw a brick through the window for fun, then dared me to steal gum from behind the counter. Daddy's Yankee trash is what the locals used to call her. We wore that label like armor. By the time we hit the dirt road down to the lake, it was nearly 2 a.m. The moon drew silver lines on the water, but the shore was just black rocks and shell casings, broken bottles, and patches of weeds taller than both of us. The dock had collapsed years ago, half in the mud. Our headlights caught bones I hoped were from deer. Still, she grinned at me. "Come on, let's get clean. Nothing in this lake bites." We stripped down to nothing. She ran ahead, pale and laughing, bold as hell even with goosebumps all over. I followed her into the water, clutching my chest at the shock. Cold, thick, weedy. She wrapped her arms and legs around me, kissed me hard, and for a while, nothing else mattered. We drifted to the shallows, making out under the stars. Jen's skin, the old wood from the dock creaking under my hands, frogs chirping, the occasional truck in the distance. My whole world was that moment. She sat in my lap on the dock, the city a million miles behind. She whipped her hair at me, daring me to chase her. That's when I saw them. 5 figures, just shapes at first, then faces, then boots. They stepped out of the woods, silent, lanterns in hand. Even in the dark, you could see their skin was raw looking, like they'd never seen sunlight. Eyes glassy, jaws slack, like they wanted to eat or kill you. Locals, I guessed. One of them, a lanky guy with bad teeth, ran his tongue over his lips, just staring at Jen. I yelled, "Private party!" But they didn't move, just stood there like scarecrows. Jen shivered. We hurried out, half naked, laughing but nervous. I got a closer look. 2 smaller, broad-shouldered, 1 wiry, a pale girl with stringy hair, and a man who looked too old to be standing without a cane. The biggest one grinned wide, tongue pressed to those brown, stained teeth. Jen grabbed her t-shirt, shoved it over her chest so fast I almost laughed, except no part of it was funny. I tried to play it off, voice cracking. Sorry, private property or what? Just like my dad when he got too drunk. The oldest man, with a shovel slung over one shoulder, just looked at me and said, low, "Shouldn't be here after dark, son." Jen, for once, didn't have a comeback. She grabbed my hand, nails hurting my skin, and whispered, "Now, we gotta go." We ran, hearts loud, legs clumsy. Branches clawed, briars sliced our ankles. We looked back. The locals just stood still staring at us. We kept running, but it was like we couldn't get further away from them, no matter how far we ran. We slid down the ditch, lost a shoe, fumbled through brush, and felt ourselves really alone for the first time. We whispered about which way the car was, trying not to lose our shit. We could hear the locals behind us, never chasing, never talking, just there. Then, like some cosmic joke, a yellow light flickered up ahead through the low-lying fog. A porch lamp, humming white moths. There stood a little green cabin, porch wrapped in honeysuckle, wood smoke, and the sound of someone rocking slow. Right out of a movie, except real. An old woman in a faded nightgown rocked on the porch, too many teeth crammed in her smile. "Come in, quick now," she said softly. "Ain't safe with them out tonight. You're city kids, right? You're lost." I could feel the locals behind us. Something about that light, that smile, made us step forward. Inside the house was all cinnamon and gasoline, windows locked, lace curtains with yellowed edges. 40 porcelain dolls watched from every shelf, smiling their cold little smiles. Jen gripped my hand like a little kid. I squeezed back, grateful for once. The old lady's hands were cold as river stones. She said my name is Jade Nightingale and patted Jen's back as she led us to a guest room, frills and ruffles everywhere, posters from before I was born. She pressed a mug of herbal tea into my hand. "You two just rest. I'll keep an eye out." That room became the safest spot in the universe for a minute. Jen curled up next to me, shivering in my hoodie, pretending to laugh off the fear. "Think she's a witch?" she whispered. "Or just lonely out here?" All the tension crashed down on me. I held her close, tracing circles on her back while her muscles twitched in her sleep. I couldn't sleep. The house creaked and grumbled. The woman's hum drifted in from the kitchen. A tune from childhood, maybe, but warped. I must have nodded off, because I woke to Jen's frantic whisper in my ear. "She's in my dream. She's standing over you, lips to your ear, whispering things I can't hear. All those men are behind her, just staring at me. It felt real. Even half awake, I could hear it, scratching in the wall, something much bigger than a mouse. Then, clearer, dragging on the boards, heavy breath, a low mumbling, almost purring. She was crawling down the hall, I swear it. I peeked out and saw her head first, white hair hanging in ropes. Her body was bent low, joints moving wrong, palms flat to the floor as she sniffed along the boards like she was following a trail only she could see. "Who's in my house?" she whispered, not angry, curious. "Who brought all that noise with them?" Jen was wide-eyed, lips pressed to my ear. "She knows you," she breathed. "She's saying your name in her head." I didn't answer. I didn't want to hear it. I looked around. No phone signal. She was inside my old backpack by the bed. I grabbed what I could, hands shaking so bad I dropped one shoe twice. Then we heard it. Boots in the dirt. I risked the curtain. Every one of the men stood in the yard, lined up like they'd been placed there, faces tilted up toward the house, not moving, not talking, just watching the windows like they were waiting for something to look back. A bonfire cracked behind them, throwing their shadows up the cabin walls. The shadows didn't match their bodies, too long, too bent, reaching where the men weren't. From the living room, her voice again, calm now, almost pleased. "They always come running," she said. "Same kind of eyes, same kind of fear. You think it's the woods chasing you, but it's what you bring with you." I felt it in my teeth then. She wasn't talking to them. She was talking to me. Jen's hand was shaking in mine. We pushed the window open, slow as sin. She slipped out first, landing wet in the grass, then turned and helped me through. My heart thumped so hard it felt like it might call them to us. The men started to move, not rushing, smiling. One of them laughed under his breath, like he'd heard a joke I hadn't. "Don't tear them," someone said. "They're already split." Jen yanked my hand and we ducked behind the chicken shed. The barn door hung loose. Inside, rotten hay, bones stacked too neatly to be from animals, jars of something dark and cloudy lining the shelves like trophies. We kept moving. The smell made my eyes water, but I couldn't slow down. That's when Jen slipped. Her foot hit something wet and warm. A body. Still soft. Still human enough that I knew what it was without looking. I hauled her up and she clamped a hand over her mouth to keep from screaming. Outside, boots circled. Voices murmured, low and intimate, like they were discussing us. "She's the loud one. He won't leave without her. None of them ever do." The old lady giggled somewhere close. "Run," she called sweetly. "You'll feel lighter once you stop pretending." We hit the back fence and tangled in the barbed wire. I tore my arm open, hauling Jen over, blood slicking my palm. The pain felt distant, unreal. Behind us, they were closer now, not breathless, patient. Jen ran barefoot into the trees, bleeding, sobbing, refusing to look back. I remembered the car, keys still in my sock. We tore through the nettles, branches whipping our faces. Smoke hung low in the woods, bonfire glow slipping between the trees. Shapes moved just out of sight, never blocking our path, always guiding it. It didn't feel like a chase. It felt like they were letting us go. Finally, the road. The Honda, half covered in dust. Jen dove in, hammered the locks. My hands shook so bad I could barely get the keys in. They were close now. Too close. I could hear breathing behind the car, soft and amused, like someone enjoying a show. The old woman shrieked from somewhere in the trees, her voice sharp and delighted. "You'll be back. They always are." I gunned it. Gravel spat fire. The Honda fishtailed, then caught. I looked once in the mirror. The old woman stood at the edge of the road, white hair blown wild, smiling like she'd already won something. The men stayed back by the fire, watching, not angry, not disappointed, certain. Jen sobbed beside me, cut and scraped, shaking so hard her teeth rattled. But she was alive. We both were. We didn't stop driving until the sun came up. We never talked about that night again. Not really. We tried, once or twice, but every time it came up, the details slid apart, like our memories didn't want to stay put. Jen would swear the old woman said one thing. I remembered something else. We both agreed on how scared we were, but not on why. 2 weeks later, Jen vanished. She didn't leave a note, didn't take most of her clothes, just gone. Her mom said she ran off. My dad said some people don't know how to stay anywhere long. I told myself the same thing. I still dream about her. Sometimes she's barefoot on that rotten dock, moonlight turning her skin pale, staring out at the water like she's waiting for something to surface. Sometimes she's pressed against the glass, breath fogging the window, mouthing, "Run," over and over, like it's the only word she remembers. But lately, the dreams have changed. Now she's inside the cabin, not scared, not hurt, just standing there, calm, helping the old woman set the table, moving like she knows where everything goes, like she's done it 100 times before. I always wake up before she looks at me. Sometimes I wake up smelling cinnamon and gasoline. Other times, smoke. Every once in a while, nothing at all. And that's worse. A few months ago, I drove past the turnoff by accident. I wasn't even thinking about Hickory Lake. I just saw the road and felt that same tightness in my chest I used to feel with Jen. That pull towards something I knew I shouldn't touch. The gas station's gone now. Burned down, finally. County put up a sign warning about unstable ground and sinkholes past the mine road. But at night, if you slow down, you can still see a light flicker through the trees. Not bright, not inviting, just steady enough to make you wonder if you're already lost. I learned that summer that not every place on a map is meant to be escaped. That night at the lake should have been the end. It wasn't. I'll never know what really happened to Jen, whether someone followed her and brought her back, or whether she went on her own because something out there had already sunk its hooks in. Maybe it doesn't matter. What matters is this. You don't always know when you're being watched, and you don't always know when that watching turns into waiting. By the time you're sure, it's usually already too late.